down here for Seconds Out with boxer promoter Ben Shalom at Leaders Week in Twickenham. Ben, good to see you, sorry. A bit of a fire press conference, not as fire as the last time round, but looking forward to a good fight between Azim and Hari Davis.
Yeah, it's a huge fight. O'Hara brings entertainment all the time, and as I say, it's a big moment in both of their careers. I know from speaking to people inside O'Hara's camp, he's taking this extremely seriously. He's had a fantastic camp, and so is Adam. And these are the moments that make you. These are the moments that British boxing fans love, because there's a lot of jeopardy in this fight. It's a really tough fight for both of them, but it's a great fight. And sometimes I think we forget. I sometimes have to think what it was like when I was 22 years old. Adam Azim headlining on Sky Sports, headlining arenas, having already become European champion, going in against a fighter like O'Hara Davis, deserves a lot of credit. I have a lot of admiration for the young man, and there's not many 22-year-olds that I would trust to put in that position and to be able to handle it. And he's matured as a man outside of the ring, and I'm really proud of him, and he's a credit to his family.
Yard and Shannon Courtney, what's the situation with their deals with Boxer?
Just both of them, actually, just for tonight. We offered the Anthony Yard fight before Joshua Buatsi fought. That was a big fight, and so we couldn't offer the Buatsi fight at that point because we hadn't beaten Willie Hutchinson, and we're in the Josh Buatsi business. Then we had Bivol Beterbiev on Saturday night, and so that was the number one aim. Looks like perhaps they'll have a rematch, and so it's almost like the obvious fight after that, and it's the biggest fight, and it's the fight that the fans want to see, and it's the fight that Joshua Buatsi wants. And Anthony Yard's going to have to put in a statement. He's coming off the back of Arsenal. He's going to have a big audience. He's going to have that window for him to really shine, I guess. And then we can look at making that fight. It's a huge fight.
Let's rewind to last week. There's a lot of fallout from it. First of all, Ben Whittaker, a lot of reaction to Ben Whittaker's freak incident with Liam Cameron, seeing him both exit the ring in a wheelchair and also have some ramifications afterwards at an airport, which he's since apologised for. But first of all, Ben Whittaker, what's the injury and what's the timeline on him returning to the ring?
Look, it was a bad week for Ben Whittaker. There's no doubt about that. I knew from the first round something wasn't right. His timing, he was getting hit by shots that I've never seen him hit before. I've seen him deal with people in the ring in far greater. That's no disrespect to Liam Cameron, who, by the way, is a lovely guy and deserves his moment, having what for me was a very harsh ban. What I'm disappointed for was the rounds that we saw, and that will have to be looked at. And that is a moment in time, in a moment in his career that will either make him or not. And I believe it will make him. And I think in life, things can come at you sometimes, so everything's coming at you. He's had such success. He's become one of the most recognised sports people in the country, and after only a handful of fights. And of course, we see everyone the pile on and this and that. He fell over the ropes. He's been out with a neck injury. He had a 13-stone guy fall on him. He's hit his ankle on the stairs. We've gone back. We've gone to hospital. I've seen his ankle. I know what we had to go through around his neck. So for anyone questioning as to whether he got injured, for me or for a lot of people, it's possibly winning that fight. Yes, had to regroup. Yes, it was way below. But he could have gained composure and come back into this fight. But for me, there's no beating around the bush. That was a bad performance, and it was a bad week. But this is something sometimes that people need in life. To look within themselves, to remember what's important, to remember what we need to focus on, and I believe it will be the making of him. I really believe it. And there's only few fighters that have this level of scrutiny. I've seen Anthony Joshua built, ripped down. It's going to be the same with Ben Whittaker. People have been waiting on this, and everyone wants to jump on and do the numbers and shout and this and that. The reality is he's a superb talent, a phenomenal talent, but one that needs to now go back to the drawing board and work out what went wrong. And he will do that. And we know what's going on, and we know what perhaps wasn't right. And we'll see a massive improvement. We don't know, to answer your question, when he'll be back. He was supposed to fight in December. He definitely won't be able to fight in December now. And hopefully he can start his recovery now, and we'll see him back in the new year.
Frazer Clarke, you and I have had a back and forth about Frazer Clarke in the past, but look, first of all, Frazer said and spoke to some people in the airport and said, look, he's okay, which is great to hear from him, and he's going to assess his future moving forward. What conversations have you had with Frazer yourself as to his return to the ring and whether that might happen?
Look, that was one of the most difficult moments in my career. It was a horrible moment. It was a frightening moment. It's a moment where you question everything. This is a guy that I'm close to. This is a guy whose family I can see when it happens. Horrible moment. And you worry about everything, and you worry about what could happen. And we went to the hospital and nothing else mattered. He had a brain scan. I have to say, Turki Al-Sheikh and the Saudi medical team were phenomenal. He had his operation instantly on that night. He was able to come home. He's well. He's obviously devastated, and it just shows one punch can change everything. But I've spoken to him, and he is more motivated than ever. He's more motivated to make the changes that he needs. He's a very talented fighter, and he's been caught, and it was dangerous. And I want him to have some time now with his family, regroup, understand what went wrong, and come back next year, because that's what I know he wants to do.
There's also some turmoil outside the ring, relationships and conversations surrounding with yourself and other promoters. It started off kind of good, at least. You and Frank Warren worked together before with Joe Parker and Joe Joyce, and then since the Riyadh season's kind of happened in the background, it seems to be there's a bit of a rocky relationship so far. What's the situation from your point of view, perspective of, I think you've said before that you feel like you were blocked at certain points, and then Frank Warren, since come out of Box Nation, said that you've then passed around contracts to make sure that your position is asserted. Was that the case, and what is the case in terms of the relationships with you and the other promoters?
Look, I think, have I talked about it before? No. Has it been just as difficult for a number of years? Yes. Obviously, you're seeing it now for the first time. You know, a lot of things happen behind camera that people don't see. I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate that these moments are now being caught on camera. I heard someone say that I shoved someone. And then luckily this thing's on camera, and I knew as soon as that was caught on camera, him shoving me, that was going to be, you know, an attempt to deflect and an attempt to go off in a different direction and say this and say that. Do you not think how outrageous it is that I even have to contract for my ticket? That's where we're at. That's why it's going in there. I never was in there because it's expected. That's how you look after people. It's a level of respect that we aren't given, and this whole deflection tactic now, because of what's been caught on camera and what it was people seeing for the first time, probably what it's like for me. And I don't care. I don't need cheerleaders. I don't need people to say this and say that. I know why people won't talk about promoters. You know, their careers depend on it, and I'm not expecting to, but I've had a lot of support from broadcasters, from people that perhaps can't, from managers that can't speak out. And it is what it is. But yeah, I knew once that was caught, there was going to be this is why. It's all a load of rubbish.
Well, Ben, we've been cut short, so I'm expecting to speak to you again, hopefully tomorrow and in the coming days. Looking forward to Azim versus Harry Davis. Thank you for tuning in. Out for now. Continue later on.
Thank you very much. Cheers.